So what this is, it's intercepts. And intercepts are where lines cross an x and y axis. Okay? So when we draw those little lines and we go and graph something out, this is an axis, and where they cross is an intercept. Are we clear so far? Okay, so if we're looking at this first one, our x is -4 and our y is -3. We're going to put a dot on -4, which is right there, and we're going to put a dot on -3, and then we're going to connect those lines up. That's all this section is. Okay? Good talk. All right, looking at the next one, we want to try to find intercepts, and what we're doing is we're taking a function, and we are replacing x and y with 0, and then solving for it. I took care of it. There was no one next door.
Gotcha.
Okay, so looking at this equation, we're going to write it twice. Okay? We're going to replace x with 0, and we're going to replace y with 0. Anything times 0 is 0. Okay? So it's going to eliminate one of the variables, and we can solve for the other variable. So we're looking at this, 3 times 0 is 0. We're focused on the -2y. So we divide both sides by -2. 12 divided by -2 is -6. We're done with the y. Now we're going to do this side, and we're going to replace the y with 0. So we're going to deal with the 3x now. So we're going to divide both sides by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4, so we know our intercepts. Okay? And this is where they're crossing. So x is 4. We're going to put a dot on 4, and then we're going to put a dot on -6, and we're going to connect them up. Okay? Pretty easy, right? Not kinda, it is. Okay, let's look at the next one. This one's a Rojo Coche Special. 2x minus 4y equals 8. We're going to write the problems twice. We're going to replace our x with 0. We're going to replace our y with 0. Then we're going to go ahead and solve. Once again, Christian, anything times 0 is nothing. It's 0. So this means we're focusing on the -4y. We need the y by itself. We're going to divide both sides by -4. 8 divided by -4 is -2, so we know what our y is. Now we're going to take care of this one right here. So we're going to put the 0 for y, and then we're going to focus on the 2x. Quickly. All of them. The trap phone, all of them.
Trap phone.
Quickly. Okay, good. Got stacks over there. All right. So after we put the 0 in here, we're going to divide both sides by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4, so now we know where it's crossing the axis, right? So we're going to put a dot at -2 on the graph, and then 4 on the x. We're going to connect them up, and it's going axis to axis. Are we clear?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, C. Let's go to D. D's one is a little bit different because it's a fraction, but it's still the same thing, okay? Standard form, which we covered in our last test, you need to know this. AX plus BY equals C. This is just a formula, okay? The letters stand for whatever numbers we wanted in this format. Notice X and Y are to one side and C is to the other, right? So all we're doing is manipulating the problem to get it, the X and Y on one side, okay? So looking at this one, 2/3 Y equals 4 minus 1.5 X. We need the X on the other side, right? So we're going to do the opposite of minus 1/2 X. We're going to add it to both sides, okay? Then we're going to rewrite the problem. We're 2/3 Y plus 1.5 X. Do remember when you go to write these, the X always goes first before the Y. And if you forget it, just remember alpha. Okay? Alphabetic. X goes before Y. Okay, good talk. All right, so once we're done here, we're going to take this equation and we're going to write it twice. Okay? Now, what I did is I wrote one here and I wrote one here. Notice they're exactly the same. Okay? What I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to replace the 0 with X. Nice thing about that is anything times 0 is 0. This leaves 2/3 Y equals 4. Someone look at this and tell me how to solve this. We have a fraction in front of the variable. How do we undo it? Yep. So we're going to flip it over. So 3/2 and 3/2 on the other side. So here's the steps. We drop a 1 underneath the 4. Okay, we can reduce these because 4 and 2. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 4 twice. And then we multiply across. 3 times 2 is 6. We're really not concerned about the 1 because everything is over 1, right? So 6/1, 6. We know what our intercept on this one. It's 6. So let's go through that again. It's a fraction, right? We're going to play 0 with X, and we're just going to be focusing on this. We've done problems like this all semester. We have a fraction next to a variable. We're going to flip it over. That's going to cancel out. Do it to both sides. when we're multiplying a whole number versus a fraction, we're going to drop a 1 underneath it, reduce it if we can, and then multiply across the top and across the bottom. So 2 times 3 is 6, 1 times 1 is 6. We know what our x is. Okay, we're doing the same exact thing on the other side. The only thing that's different here is now we're going to be working on the x. Okay? So where the y is, Christian, we're going to put a 0. Then that's going to cancel this out, and we're going to focus on the 1/2 x. We're still doing the same thing, right? Fraction next to a variable, we're going to flip it over. We're going to flip it over to both sides. Okay, so this is 4 times 2 is 8. 1 times 1 is 1. There's our intercept. It's 8. Okay? So now we know our y. We know our x. We can plot it out. So y is going to be 8. X is going to be 6. We're going to make dots, and we're going to connect the dots up. Yeah, go.
Oh, question.
Yep.
On the worksheet,
Yes.
5, 6, 7, and 2, 3, and 4, those two are those connected, or
I'll get to that in just a second once I cover this last one, because this one's very similar to one that's on the worksheet. Okay, any questions on this one?
No.
Fraction next to a variable, do the reciprocal, do it to both sides. Okay. Okay, this one. This is a pretty typical question you're going to see. Okay. That's in standard form. Our A is 4, our B is 2, and our C is 8. We don't need to do anything to this one except replace our intercepts. Okay? So after we do that, we can go ahead and isolate the variables and start solving for them. So if we're looking at this one, I'm going to take this equation, I'm going to write it twice. I'm going to replace x with 0, and I'm going to replace y with 0. Then I'm going to solve it. So this takes care of itself. This is 2y equals 8. I'm going to divide both sides by 2 to get the y by itself. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Y equals 4. Then I'm going to come to this side. 2 times 0 cancels out because it's 0. I'm going to divide both sides by 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. I know my intercepts. Y, I'm going to go to 4 and make a dot. X, I'm going to go to 2 and make a dot. I'm going to connect the dots up, and those are my intercepts. Okay. Now, let's look at the worksheet first, and then we're going to talk about the do now. Okay. The worksheet. All this wants to know is what the x and y's are. So you're going to go on the graph and look at those points, and you're going to write what the x-intercept is and what the y-intercept is. Okay? These next ones, these two, are exactly like E. Okay? You're going to write the equations twice. You're going to replace 0 in with x, 0 in with y. Figure out what the intercepts are. But what's the? Oh no, that's today's. This is still part of it. Okay. And then the last question also gives you the equation. You're going to replace x with 0, y with 0, and go ahead and solve it. Now, the handout that I gave you. The handout, you're going to do 2 through 7 and 9 through 21 today, okay? So everyone take a look at that, please. Yes. Yeah, I'm not concerned about that one. Okay, let's look at 2 through 4. So 2 through 4, you're telling me what those intercepts are and where it's crossing. Okay, those ones are pretty easy. That takes less than a couple of seconds. 5, 6, and 7, you'll need a separate sheet of paper. You're going to go replace 0 with x and 0 with y. Write the equations twice. Figure out what it is and graph them. Okay? 9, 10, 11, 12. 11 is just like this one right here. The rest of them are just like E, okay? So 9 through 12, you want to solve the x and y and graph them out. 13 through 14, you're telling me what the intercepts are, and then 16 through 21, you're solving it as well, okay? Remember that you need it in ax plus by equals c, okay? So you might have a problem, like look at number 17. Notice how the 4y is on one side and the 2x is on the other? We need to move the 4y to the other side and rewrite it. So same thing that we had to do on this one, or even this one right here. We need the x, we need the y on one side. Are we good? Okay, make miracles happen. Good talk.